Yes, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV, and we are here today to talk about Limerick's 20-point victory over Waterford. It's been a crazy weekend of sport in general this weekend. We've seen some surprises, we've seen some shocks, and we've seen some poor performances on the biggest stage of it all, but none of that compares to the performance by Waterford against Limerick. An awful performance in many respects. From this Waterford side that, just 2 years ago we're in an All-Ireland final, and just 9 weeks ago we're in a league final. Absolutely crazy from Waterford. To lose 20 points in this game, having lost 18 points to Tipperary just a week ago. Just embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing for Waterford. There's no other way around it. And I want Waterford to do well. I lived in Waterford a couple of years ago. I know the passion of the city, and I know how much hurling means to people from this county. And I was one of the people that did really want them to win that All-Ireland 2 years ago when they came up against Galway. But it's just all gone apart, isn't it? The horrible championship season last year, it looked like they turned things around in the league. We were seeing some fantastic performances from the likes of Shane Bennett, Pádraig Mahony, and of course, Austin Gleeson, former All-Star, of course. So, they just weren't up for this game whatsoever. They did start well, to be fair. If we talk a bit about this match before I go into a bit more detail about what I think has gone wrong with Waterford, they started all right. They got a few early points. Stephen Bennett hit a few early points. Pádraig Mahony started well as well. And for the opening 15 to 20 minutes, it was a fairly even game. Limerick were kind of just easing themselves into it a lot more, whereas Waterford were pretty much trying to, bounce back from that defeat against Tipperary. But one of the clear issues with this Waterford team for me is their mentality. As soon as Gearóid Hegarty got that goal for Limerick, Waterford just fell apart. They absolutely fell apart. They didn't, they just stopped closing down. They stopped pressing. Positioning was all over the place. Just hitting wides from ridiculous angles. And the thing is with Waterford is that I'm pretty sure Limerick had more wides in this game than Waterford. And I feel like that's the most worrying thing. Waterford, they just didn't try. They didn't even get in the positions to make anything happen. And, as soon as Limerick started gaining up some momentum, Waterford just completely collapsed, instantaneously. You wonder, is it the pressure of playing at Walsh Park? Is it something got to do with that, of course, because we do know it's been a long time since Waterford have got to play championship games at home. Is it that kind of pressure? You have to question the management, of course, as well, in Pádraig Fanning and what's going on with him, because obviously, how have the team gone from being so good 9 weeks ago to just being completely awful in this championship? And look, listen, the Munster Championship is very, very competitive. You've got, for me, it's probably the most competitive I've ever seen the Munster Championship at the moment, especially with this, new system, new kind of group stage system. But there's ways to lose, and then there's ways to lose, and Waterford are just getting absolutely, destroyed by all costs here at the moment. And the second half for me, first half, okay, they trailed by 6 points. They were terrible, but they still had time to come out in the second half, put it right, at least put up a good display. And it was even worse, to be honest with you. I think they only hit like 3 points in the second half, 3 or 4 points. Just absolutely abysmal and embarrassing from Waterford. Limerick, on the other hand, look, listen, you've got to absolutely praise them to the absolute max. Having lost that game against Cork, you did wonder, maybe are Limerick gonna run out of steam a bit, having won the league, having won the All-Ireland, maybe trying to defend their All-Ireland crown and kind of go for Munster this year might be a step too far, and maybe that's as good as we're going to get. But of course, absolutely not. They were outstanding in this game. You cannot take anything away from Limerick. Gearóid Hegarty, absolutely fantastic. Kyle Hayes, he hit 4 points in this game, was really impressed with him. And of course, Aaron Gillane, he gets a lot of the praise recently, and absolutely rightly so. He got another fantastic goal, hit another 4 points as well. Was really impressed with him. And when you've got players like Shane Dowling coming off the bench and just, you know, I mean, Shane Dowling was just nearly taking the piss, wasn't he? I mean, just hitting points from absolutely everywhere. I think he got like 5 when he came on. So that's a good thing about this Limerick side. They have players that can come off the bench, that can make a difference and can really change a game. And certainly Shane Dowling was doing that for Limerick. Of course, the game was kind of dead and buried by then, but nonetheless, just absolutely fantastic from Limerick. And yeah, for Waterford, a lot of soul searching needs to be done. The management needs to massively come into question, because, you know, for it to happen, you know, if Waterford were just generally poor for the past 5 to 6 years, 7 years, you'd be like, okay, you know, there's no quality in the team. We need to really review everything. We need to change management. We need to do this. But this team just 2 years ago were in an All-Ireland final. They do have quality players. You know, Austin Gleeson, former All-Star, one of the best hurlers in the county in my opinion. Pádraig Matney, I think, is another very good player for Waterford. You know, and what about him, by the way? He completely lost his cool, didn't he? Getting sent off. Just shows the amount of frustration that is happening with Waterford at the moment. You know, Shane Bennett, Stephen Bennett, you know, there's some good hurlers in this Waterford side, and they just completely, you know, fell apart in my opinion in this game. You know, apparently there's nothing really in the youth setup as well. No players are really coming through, so some huge amount of questioning really. And of course, I think they play their final match against Cork. You know, obviously they're already out now. The Munster Championship is over for them. You know, the All-Ireland is over for them. But yeah, just some serious mentality issues with this Waterford side, and just some real questioning, in my opinion, into what is actually going wrong, because we know the quality is there. We've seen it in the league campaign, but you know, in this game against Limerick, they were absolutely all over the place. And as for Limerick, of course, they will go again. I still think they have to play Clare and Tipperary, I think. So still 2 games to go for them. I would expect them to go through into the next stage of the All-Ireland. And I think it's, for me, I feel like Limerick will be the team to play Tipperary in the Munster final. But of course, we will have to wait and see what happens. But anyway, guys, that has been my match review of the game between Waterford and Limerick. Just crazy from Waterford to be as poor as they have been in the past 2 games. I really hope they can turn it around and show some sort of fight in their game against Cork. But ultimately, massive questioning needs to go into the management, into the setup, into the board, and of course the players as well. Because, as I said before, you know, you can, if you don't have quality, it's fair enough if you don't have the players, but having a team that just shows no fight and just gives up and doesn't press, doesn't close down, and doesn't even create chances, yeah, just embarrassing from Waterford, but fantastic for Limerick. And yeah, guys, my name has been Aaron, and I will catch you all next time.